Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahweh's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the Mikri. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahweh's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.
Well, welcome to our Shabbat show and family hour here at the Yahweh vlog. It's great to be with you. We've got Kevin up there on the top, and when we see Kevin with a score behind him, it means we're going to be introducing this show with a new song, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. We got music tonight.
Yeah, boy. It was a fun, well, I wouldn't say it was a fun show, but it was highly informative and entertaining. The program we did on the time of troubles and the two places where war is inevitable, both Russia responding to what Europe's doing through Ukraine, and of course, we're just nowhere in trying to solve the issues with Iran that made the situation much worse, particularly for Israel. So it was fun to do that. I guess I use fun again. It was educational to do that. I think we had a very powerful program. And Kirk, so it's good to see you. You have survived the internet bandits, have turned them over to the FBI, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, we have yes.
Yeah, and you have just for the for everybody in the audience listening, the standard appropriate protocol is you ignore such threats. Never answer the phone if it's somebody that number you don't recognize. Let it go to a message, and if you like the message, you can call them back. But don't answer the phone if you don't recognize the number and the person that's calling you. And if somebody sends you a threatening email, don't ever click on it or the attachment, and things will go much easier. We've all made the mistake, as JB held up a finger earlier, once, but not a lot of us will make the same mistake twice. But you're just now moving into you just look old for a guy that's still in his early 20s and just getting this internet stuff down. But you've just moved from the analog world into the digital world, so this is new stuff for you, new terrain.
Yeah, most people are basically honest. You know that old line? That's bull.
Yeah, there you are.
No crooks you can count.
Yep. And we have JB out there with the mountains in the background. How you, pal?
Doing good. Yeah, that just reminded me of a joke I read. It said back in the 90s, they told us don't ever meet up with someone that you met online and never get in a car with a stranger. Now you get on your phone, you get online and get someone to come pick you up in their car.
Yeah, it is a strange world out there. It is not friendly at all. Well, Dr. Jeff, you are still in portrait mode with the rest of us in landscape, but what are you going to do? Technology is a tough beast, tough master.
Oh man, you're not kidding. We've had some excitement here. I spoke with Rich this morning. We made the news yesterday. 3 guys attacked each other with axes.
My God.
My guess is that an axe wound is probably a nasty looking wound. I don't care where somebody hits you with an axe, it's going to smart.
Yeah, it was interesting, but they survived. So my suggestion was that they go down the block to Home Depot and get the right axes and get the job done correctly.
Yeah, it would save everybody a lot of extra work, wouldn't it? If you're going to attack somebody with an axe, the least you can do is put them out of their misery, right? So how bad were these 3 men?
They were some bad boys. They were bad
boys, and they were in bad shape.
They were in moderately severe shape. They're alive, and I think they're going to live to do more trouble, mischief, and perfidy. So,
how does 3 men just so happen to have an axe at the same time? I mean, I can see one person being stupid and bringing an axe and being belligerent. But what are the odds you're going to meet two others, both of whom have axes?
I don't know. I guess they had an axe to grind. I just don't know.
Axes.
How many lumberjacks are there in Arizona?
I don't know if you want to cut down the saguaro cactus, which is which is illegal actually.
Yeah. And it's far worse to try to haul one away. Let's tried that one time. It just doesn't work. We have Perry over here in the side. I think Perry, you're got lights on and ears. So yep, there we have Perry. He's running mega computers for us, running AI engines on them, working to get our voices up and books read and all of that sort of thing. So
yeah, I'm having a fun time with putting it all together. It's going to turn into a yada yada lexicon. Okay. Because otherwise you can't put it all together.
Yep. It is it's a good challenge.
Daunting task.
Yeah, I'm for example, I'm adding the superscripts to Coming Home 4. And it's just amazing how much time that it takes to do that, because there are so many words that are transliterated exactly the same, but have very different meanings, whether it's an aleph or an ain that is responsible for it. And the exact same transliteration, but some with an aleph, some with an ain. And it makes a huge difference in the translation. So getting all that right, and without getting that right, really the translations don't work with the glossary, because I know when we first tried to get it up, I was reading things and it would be Ethan, you'd be saying, okay, that means with or near or approximate, that sort of thing, and it went to time, and you say, well, it is, but it's that translator will work for time, but time is like 1 in 100, maybe 1 in 1,000 occurrences. And it's actually spelled differently, but with the apostrophe we were using for the distinction, you couldn't discern between them. So that's what started this whole project with the superscript, and it's very, very difficult to automate. So it's a lot of personal time to get it right. So that's a project that we're on, trying to still add and complete Coming Home 6, but we'll have close to 2,000 pages of new books by the time it's all done, and they will be properly superscript. And we have Rich over at the helm here. He's going to bring up a camera. He is so smooth with those cameras, isn't he? He is just a very silky producer over there. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing better.
Doing better, huh? Yeah, he's been working on a health issue, and you were able to get the meds, the rest of your meds today? Finally.
Things are a little slow here on the island.
You are. We're on island time. If you're gonna grow a clot on the island, you got to have it be tropical, and accommodate the pharmacies and the doctors. Well, I understand we are going to begin with a song. This is a collaboration between Leah, who wrote the lyrics and produced the song, and Mariah, I understand, is our graphic and animator. She's also the one that was the lead animator on the song that we played last week, which was so beautiful. The writing through the sheepfolds and the like. Really, I guess, one of the fun collaborations that everybody participated in together.
Yeah, Luminaries. That was a good one.
Luminaries.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Luminaries. Love it. Very timely for the programs we're doing. So you want to introduce the song, Kevin, and we'll play it for us?
You hit most of the high points. I mean, the song is Shabbat Dance, and it's very Torah related. It's just not as deep as some of our others. This one's just fun. It's good music and it's just fun. So we're gonna roll it. Okay.
As in Shabbat, as in 7, and as in promise. And as the basis for Shabbat. So there was a post on, we talked about it on the Iowa blog. Somebody saying, is the Sabbath Saturday or Sunday? You're like, okay. Saturday is the 7th day. Sunday is the first day. Shabbat means 7. Which one do you think it is? I don't know. It's I'm not very good with math, but we'll ask Perry. You're good with math. The seventh day, would that be Saturday or Sunday?
You know, traditionally, seventh day has always been Saturday.
Always through history. Yep. The weeks have been, with one exception, I think it goes back all the way to Sumer. But after Sumer, a week anywhere in the world has always been 7 days. And Saturday has always been the seventh day. And Sunday is the first day of the week. So it's not difficult to figure out what God intended. He's really had quite an influence on a number of things in terms of calendars that permeated the world after he came up with his message. So Shabbat dance is let's have fun with the promise of 7, which is the basis of Shabbat, which is what we're celebrating tonight.
By who is it with Yahweh's name? Yada, stepping along the straight path, which gives meaning to life with Yah. From Sion's night, we break free into light. No rush of chains, no chat to fight. I got to run day and night. Yahweh's rhythm feels so right. Call her Asher at Zion's gate. Answer the call, please don't be late. No confusion, no misdirects. We go where the words lead. Leading back to delight. Clap your hands, dance in the light. Covenant joy through the darkest night. Answer Yahweh's call. Come home where you belong. An eternal sign. Leave religion's yoke, step onto the path. Buried families, 7-step dance. Hey! Haga, roar the truth aloud. The white lions have come from Babel's shadow to the promised crowd. Roar it loud and proud. Shabbat, harvest in a harvest moon glow. Yahweh's home where the blessed ones go.
No, it's got quite a beat. I love the rhythm of the song. It is definitely fun. I do have bad news. I did have a cappuccino at the beginning of that song. I do not have one now. I wonder who might have also become a cappuccino fiend. There we go. See, we at one time we had Wookie we could blame for being our cappuccino thief, and now Kara is following in his footsteps.
It must be great cappuccino.
Oh, it is. It is very great cappuccino. Yes, Leo makes a very, very fine cappuccino, and there you go. So now you can see how much cappuccino I have left. None.
You don't have to wash it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Cara. That was really swell of you. I appreciate that very much. All right. That was a fun, clearly a fun song, and dancing to the Shabbat. I guess you couldn't do that in Judaism because you only get 70 steps on your Shabbat.
Yeah.
You gotta go. Nixon, they make the most onerous day of the week. 1,000 things that you can't do on Shabbat. It's like their kosher rules, and they're just making all the stuff up. They're pulling it out of their tuchus. There's nothing in the Torah that actually says anything about what they're doing. They're just an onerous religion seeking to control people. Quite sad. So we have Cora trying to take over the position so that everybody does know we are going to a rotation now. And I think that'll make quite a difference. It became almost impossible using StreamYard to have 10 or more people on this program. And well, we're not booting anybody from the program. Love everybody's contribution. We're just going to have a little bit of a rotation so that it'll be kind of week on, week off, and we can have just a little bit easier for Kevin to be able to manage. Kevin, it was an interesting program this morning. Mm-hmm. We spent a lot of time talking about what's going on between Europe and Russia vis-a-vis Ukraine, and the most recent targeting of a school where but I think 11, 12 children were killed, and 40, almost 50 children were badly injured, burned, and the like, using a European large aircraft drone like the U.S. Predator that shot. Each of them had 4 missiles hovering over scene with somebody watching, and it would have been somebody from Great Britain watching what was going on and firing those missiles, knowing that they were hitting and killing children. And brutal, reprehensible. And it has taken Russia to the point where Russia now has absolutely no choice. They had tried to avoid going after Europe. They had tried to avoid destroying Ukraine. They wanted to protect the eastern areas of the Ukraine, which were ethnically Russian, and they spoke Russian, and they, attended the Russian Orthodox Church, and they were being brutally attacked by the Ukrainians with U.S. and other European weapons. And so Russia did the moral thing and protected them, and they are now part of Russia. But Europe is declared war on Russia. Europe is absolutely convinced that that it's appropriate for them to commit their countries to war against Russia. And some of these countries, like Germany, the last time Germany played this game, the Russians took them out. I mean, literally took them out. And you ought to be smart enough to know that if the Russians paid the price of 25 million Russians,
ain't afraid to
keep the Germans from conquering them in the last World War, you are just not going to be able to defeat the Russians. You're just not going to be able to do that. They've got resolve. Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. Cara says thank you very much, but I think yeah, we get good service here. And very nice waitress. I'll have to remember to tip my waitress later. But yeah, see, we have a cappuccino machine in the next room.
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah. I like it. So not many Ukrainians right now sipping cappuccino. We have talked about this on the other show, but I think it's worth mentioning here because we have a little larger audience here, that Putin has actually been the restraint. He is the only one that we can actually say is trying to keep that conflict from becoming a continent-wide war. It's already NATO versus Russia, but it's about to also become Russia versus UK, France, all of the Baltic countries, and Germany. And they're not giving Russia any choice. They're being really belligerent, and they're killing Russians now, Russian civilians. And so I talked about this a week ago. I said it's going to happen now soon. That the nature of that war is not going to be anymore protecting the Eastern Russian-speaking people. It's going to be Kiev's going to be taken out, and if that doesn't scare the Europeans into a corner, then they're going to bomb Germany, France, England, and likely the Baltic countries. So this is the war that is exploding all around us at the time of troubles, while everybody's looking at the mess in Ukraine. The mess in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any way to stop it now. When Lavrov called Rubio a couple of days ago and said, we are duty bound by international law to tell you, even though they're not civilians, but in your embassy, but we don't want to go to war with the United States, but you better get your personnel out of Ukraine and get them out of Kiev because we're going to destroy it. And the Europeans said, no, we're going to leave our staff there. And the Russians said, that's fine. You've been warned. We've done our part. So much the better. They're going to destroy Ukraine. They're going to destroy Kiev. And they've been given no choice. And Kiev no longer has interceptors. So what they did was not only grossly immoral, it was insane. It was suicidal. But think of what's going to happen. I mean, what happened with the last time we had a European war? And that's what we have now. Vast
50 million?
deadly machines.
What is it with the French? Don't they remember Napoleon? He invaded Moscow. How did that do? I mean, do they
remember
nobody?
Operation. Yeah, I don't know how many troops the Germans had, but I think it was upwards of 500,000 that they Operation Barbarossa. Wasn't it in the range of 500,000 Germans that were part of that invasion? May have been even more than that. And the Germans could not amass 50,000 troops today.
Yeah, they got nothing.
And with 500,000, far better armed, better assets all the way around, they were destroyed in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have 50,000 poorly equipped, poorly trained soldiers going against the regulars in the Russian army that are brilliantly led, well equipped, is 2 million. And it's suicidal. And it's just absolutely suicidal. And the Russians have their manufacturing base fully developed and honed to make missiles and drones and artillery shells and all the other kinds of things that you need to support a war effort. And the Germans and the English and the French do not. And there would take them 10 years to develop it, even if they had the know-how, and they don't anymore. So, I mean, they would be going into a meat grinder. This is really frightening what the leaders are trying to do. But it's what happens when a leader becomes exceedingly unpopular. They know that they will be voted out of office soon, that they've gone on record saying that, the Russians, the boogeyman, and rather than just admit they were wrong, they're going to push Russia to the point where the Russians have only one moral response, and that's to defend themselves. And you can't blame a country that defends itself. It's what the Iranians are doing. They're defending themselves. That's what Russia's doing. They're defending themselves. They're not the aggressors in this war. So this could very well lead to nuclear war. It's not because the Russians will be the first to strike at a nuclear strike. They'll use non-conventional delivery systems, but conventional warheads. And the European capitals are talking about developing their nuclear weapons and deploying them, and that would be a fatal mistake that would take out all of Europe. Wow. So this is what happens when you enter the time of troubles. Mm-hmm. And then you have, we talked about the Ukrainian situation, and Ukraine has won every aspect of this war. They've destroyed U.S. bases in the Middle East. They've badly damaged Israel. They have closed the Strait of Hormuz. They have the world in an economic noose. And they don't have to capitulate on anything. I mean, they've likely already built their bombs, their nuclear bombs. They have their own uranium extraction. They have 40 some odd facilities around the country to refine the uranium. And they have hundreds of buried missile sites to launch the warheads. And America has done nothing to damage their manufacturing capability, their missile capability, their drone capability, or their fast boats or mines in the Strait of Hormuz. So all that America has got left is to bribe them to open it. And the bribe them to open it is to releasing $25 billion of stolen Iranian money, or sanctions relief, or something of that nature. You're going to have to bribe them to open it. And, Iran's got a lot of flexibility as to what to do with their enriched uranium, because they can continue to enrich whatever they want. And they have their own mines and so much enrichment capability, and it doesn't take much to make a bomb. So we've really put ourselves in a terrible position, and the petrodollar is destroyed, and our U.S. economy is destroyed as a process. And America's got Rahab, a Satanist president, and he is a danger to himself. And what a piece of crap. I mean, this man, what he writes and what he says about others, this is a really disgusting human being. In fact, I'm not so sure I'd ever even refer to him as human. He is Satan. So we're in quite a spot now. As we shared that, you were, rather than I know, you got depressed a little bit this morning, didn't you, Kirk? And it's a little different than my response, because my response is, if these things were not happening, then the prophets would have been wrong.
No,
they say it's the worst time in human history, and so it's got to be the worst time in human history. We've been preparing for this now for 20 years. We knew it was coming. We knew the date that it would begin. We knew it was going to happen around the world, and we're seeing it all unfurling right before our eyes. And we got Netanyahu, who is just a lunatic out there, making Israel more vulnerable with every speech and every threat and every bomb. And it's so counterproductive. So when you were saying, oh my God, this is really pretty bad, where did you go this morning?
I'd like, if you don't mind, to read Joel 20:21 leading into 2022, because one of them is about us and the rest is about the animals. And I was just getting a head start on where I thought we might be. I think we're further along. But I was kind of, it's not depressed that I didn't know it was coming. It's just, it's so sad to see that nobody can make a decent choice. And it just... I mean, we've been at it we've been talking about Ukraine since about 2014, 15 or something. Whenever
I know. Been doing it.
And we said this is what's going to happen.
The war is coming in Ukraine. I've been talking about it for over a decade. I think 12 years that I've been talking about what's going to happen in the Ukraine. When you get 12 years into it, it was just the same situation that I had with Afghanistan and Iraq. I had 12 years into those where I said, this is stupid. This is how it's going to turn out. All we're doing is making a bad situation worse. And I did hundreds and hundreds, thousands of radio interviews and some television saying, this is the mess we're making, and there is no possible outcome other than it's going to be worse. And we said the same thing about Iran, said the same thing about Ukraine. And then to watch it happen, it's frustrating that you can be so accurate so many times for so long, and people just don't want to listen. And, I would say 80% of Americans don't know that the U.S. is the belligerent in Ukraine. We set it up.
We choose not to know. They can't be all that dumb. I'll mention something. Yesterday I had to see my oncologist, and, I talked to him a month ago about Yahweh and all, and he was receptive. And then he was getting a little depressed, because he says, that president of ours, and I say ours, and he said, that president this here, he's Satan. And I said, don't you remember we covered that a month ago?
We did. I told you that.
Yeah. in our conversation, and then we went through a whole list of things, and he was sad, and I said, this. I went through a whole bunch of stuff with him, and he was very receptive. And then, unfortunately, he has to go see somebody else. But he's really he's quite. I was excited for him. But then I was listening to a show, and it's everybody. Let me see, my computer goes back up. As I was listening to the show, let's see where we are. Okay, there we go. But I did get a little. I just got sad. It's more than depressed. It's just I know it's coming, and it's like watching somebody die of cancer, and you go, what do you do? What do you do?
With the religious and the overtly political, I'm not sad for them.
Yeah.
Well, they painted themselves into that corner, and you can't fix it. For the people like your doctor. That's not overtly political or religious, and is now a victim of the world falling apart. It is sad for them.
Yes,
that they have had little voice in being able to stop what's occurring, and it is sad for them.
Yeah.
And it's sad for Israel that they have been so belligerent towards God and don't recognize it.
Indeed. So anyway, I turned to something. I started reading 21 and 22 of Yoel, of 2 of the second chapter. It says, "This is because Yahweh, He is great, enriching, and empowering, growth-oriented and nurturing, for acting and engaging." Or, you wrote a couple of versions because of the translation, "This is because He is esteemed for enriching, empowering, being growth-oriented and nurturing, for acting and engaging for Yahweh." So, all those promises are good. He's going to be there. So I read quite a lot, but all of it is good. I got my little happy on. And
he's receptive. He's approachable. You got to meet him on his terms, but he's approachable. He's receptive, and he's not changing. And he's going to be a whole lot of fun to be around. He is a whole lot of fun to be around.
But if you walk to him, he'll walk to you. If you shoob, he'll shoob.
Yeah,
it's not a complicated thing to do. So then it followed up with, "Do not be distressed concerning the animals of the open environs, because the beautiful pastures, the lovely dwelling places, and the deserts are becoming verdant and growing. Surely the trees lifts up and bears the fig tree and the vine. They are vigorous in strength and noble character." And then you went into the commentary, and I won't read that, but basically it was the message to me was, look, He's going to take care of you, Kirk. He always promised you to take it. You know that. I'm not saying I haven't really doubted it. It's just this is heavy-hearted stuff going through. And I was just reminding myself, and then even the animals of the field, and you went through the commentary with, when we get that 1,000 years and we return, it's a cutting event. We're going to separate this, and the rest of them are going to, the few that would choose Yahweh will be there. He's going to take over just like the beginning. He's going to have all the animals are going to grow back. All the animals are going to reproduce. It's just going to be a wonderful thing, and don't be sad. Everything is going to be all right. I'm sorry there's not more of us, but
all the people that were cheering on the carnage that's taking place, the religious, the political, the conspiratorial, all of the Semites out there, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Good riddance. They're gone.
And that's great.
That is good. Taking out the trash. And then the earth is going to be restored to the conditions found in Eden. And God, as He did long ago with the ark, is concerned about the animals, going to take care of the animals. Says, don't worry. I'm going to restore the earth for you, and He is going to do so. And then the noble quality of the vines, that represents Israel. The tree, it's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of lives, which are going to be restored. And He's saying, they're of exemplary stature. So God is on record saying that He's taking us back to the conditions of the garden. Now that situation will be good for us, but it's not really designed for us.
No.
If we're covenant, we are already going to have been empowered and enriched so that we can be multi-dimensional. We'll be able to enter the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh dimensions and explore the universe and that sort of thing. And while those things are going to be grand and extraordinary, to be able to go and see other galaxies and planetary systems and be able to manipulate DNA and bend matter with our mind, all fun stuff, and going exploring with Yahweh and having conversations with him about his creation, we have a responsibility. God likes work. He chose people he can rely on to get the job done. And he is going to deploy us because he would like to give a remnant of his people another opportunity. And so he's going to have some number of people that will be allowed back into a restored earth where the entire earth resembles the Garden of Eden. And we will be responsible for helping them grow to the point where they make the decision to be covenant, and that God is impressed enough with them that he trusts them to the extent that he's willing to empower them as well, so that they can also leave the planet and go explore the universe. And it's obvious to me that all the way through the process, animals are going to receive a very ideal scenario. They will not anymore being hunted by men or harassed by men, and being an animal on this planet is going to be a marvelous thing. And when God says, I'm speaking to the animals here, it means he can speak to the animals. Yeah. And when we become more like him, we will be able to speak to them too. So you'll be able to have a regular conversation with other animals. I happen to think that is
I like horses too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to jumping in the ocean and having a conversation with dolphins and orcas and humpback whales. You know, I know I'm picking the mammals among the fish. I don't know how smart a fish is, but and I'm not really eager to have a long conversation with a shark. But I'm happy to talk with the dolphins. Yeah, I'll pick my. I'm not sure I want to have a conversation with a platypus or an aardvark, but dogs, cats, and bald eagles, and there's a lot of opportunity. Foxes and owls, and I just think it'll be grand.
Get away from the emus. They're mean. They're mean.
Mm-hmm. Going to be a grand experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you were translating Bereshith, Genesis, JB, all those many years ago, did you at the time think that we were coming back to Eden? Do you think that story was being told because we were getting a second chance? We did so poorly in our first opportunity in Eden that God was going to actually give us a second chance?
No, we didn't piece that together till years later.
That's correct. Yeah. It's
once you see it, it's
you've got to get pretty deep into the whole text and put things together to realize that's what's going to happen. But God's emphatic about it, so there's no question that is what we're going to experience, and it's going to take place on October 2nd of 2033. That is not when the earth is restored; it's when the remnant is allowed back into Eden. The remnant will be restored on Teruah, and the earth is restored back to the conditions of Eden on Teruah, which is the 23rd and 24th of September of 2033. That is our next highlight in terms of fulfillment. So it'll be extraordinary. That is what we're working towards. That's the bookend of the time of trouble. We began the time of trouble 22 May of this year, a week ago. And boy, has we ever gone into it heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really heavy. And with Netanyahu doing all manner of things that are destructive to Israel, he's actually talking about how he's going to use the IDF to bring the Messiah back. And of course, it's not back for them because their Messiah is an unknown warrior. And he's going to use the IDF to create the environment for his Messiah to come back. And it's so tragically sad because there are no prophecies about a returning Messiah. It was all made up by Judaism, and when Judaism had this longing for a Messiah that was going to come rescue them from the Goyim, that's how Paul picked it up in Christianity and rolled with it. Now, that's not saying that the Messiah isn't returning, but he's not coming back as the Messiah. He's coming back as king. It's Dowd, who is the one person that Yahweh said is my Messiah, the one that I anointed with my special oil. But when you hear him say that, and he talks about Israel being the hegemon of the region, and you just realize that it's destructive, it's deadly. Really, it's a scary thing that he has done to his country, isolated Israel from the rest of the world and made it a vassal of Satan, of Rahab, of Trump. It's
an absolute pipe dream. I mean, to be the hegemon of the region, you have to be the leader and you have to get along with your neighbors, but your neighbors have to get along with you too. You're surrounded by Islam that wants to do nothing but destroy Jews and kill Jews. I mean, with that rationale, he has to kill everybody in the Middle East in order for him to be the superpower of the Middle East, right? Because they're never going to get along with Israel.
The idea of being the hegemon of the world, from the end of World War II up to a couple of years ago, the United States was the hegemon. And prior to that, it was Great Britain that was the hegemon of the world. Rome has been the hegemon of the world. Carthage was hegemon. To be a hegemon of a large portion of the world, you have to have the trust of other nations. You have to have a big stick. That is true, and the big stick is usually a navy, but you have to have a reliable, non-weaponized currency. And you have to have the means of trade. And you have to be an elixir for international trade where nations use your currency and they use your trade routes and they trade with your protection for you to be the hegemon. That's how you end up being so wealthy, and that's how you fund your navy and your military, is that you get a cut on every trade. And that's how Great Britain was the hegemon, and that's how United States was. United States has blown that. Of course, Great Britain tossed it all away. They were obnoxious, and the United States has been obnoxious. We've weaponized our currency, which has eliminated the dollar as a reserve currency. You can't trust America anymore. We've destroyed the value of our currency by inflating it, and we have weaponized it by confiscating other people's wealth and applying sanctions as weapons of war. So that destroyed the trust. Israel is never going to have the trust of nations around it. Israel's never going to have a currency that can be gold-backed that nations will trust. Israel's never going to have a navy large enough to facilitate or guard international trade. So Israel doesn't have the wherewithal to do it. There's only one nation today that is in a position to be hegemon, replacing the United States, and there's just not enough time for them to do so. But if the world wasn't going to fall apart over the next 7 years, China is well positioned. They are the world's leader in manufacturing. They're the world's leader in shipbuilding for trade. They're becoming the world's leader militarily because they're so efficient in building their military. But mostly they've gone to a gold-backed currency. And the yuan as a gold-backed currency is in a vastly superior position. And when you're the lead shipbuilder and the lead manufacturer in the world, well, it puts you in a position where they would pull it off if they had time. And they don't have time, but they would. And they have another issue, which is that for them to pull it off, they have to keep America from destroying itself. They know America is destroying itself, and they know that is inevitable economically and militarily, that America has no long-term future. But they need to postpone its demise. They need a softer landing because with America going bankrupt, it'll take Europe with them, and could take parts of South America as well, and even parts of Asia, and China would lose its markets. And if you're the manufacturer engine of the world and you lose your markets, what good is it? So a world in depression would affect China too. So this is where we find ourselves, and it's just going to become brutal. And at this point, we don't have a voice that's powerful enough to get people's attention. And I think it's the way God wants to work. He's never been one that speaks so loudly that you can't ignore him. And he never speaks directly. He always speaks through people. And those people are never all that impressive. What they have to say is impressive. You know, they'll outthink and out-reason, out-rhetoric, out-debate anyone, anywhere, anytime. And they will know the future that others speculate about. And they will understand the causes of war and the causes of economic collapse. They will understand precisely what's going on. They'll be the most reasoned voice of all, but they're not going to shout loud enough to overwhelm the den of politics and religion. And that's largely because God doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I think is going to be so shocking to people. You know, Jews believe their Hashem is taking care of them, going to save them. And no, he's going to kill most of them. Most of them are going to die at the hands of Christians, MAGAs, Marxists, and Muslims. But those that survive to the end, he is going to take out. It's going to be very, very, very tiny, less than 0.1% of the Israelis are going to be spared by Yahweh. And of the Muslims and the Christians and the Marxists, the Hindus, going to be nobody. None of them. And so we're going to be dealing with a God who's going to say of 8.5 billion people by that time, that I'd be surprised if 8,000.
Yeah.
You know, among 8 billion, it's just 1 in a million.
Mm-hmm.
God's not trying to save everybody. Has no interest in doing so. Doesn't even want to. Has no desire for that to be the case. He realizes that we are really bad. We're obnoxious when there's a lot of us. And the only chance that we humans have to prove worthy is for there to be very few of us. And those few have to be completely disengaged from religion and politics and conspiracy and anti-Semitism to even have a chance. So this is quite a different scenario than people are accustomed to. And that is where we are, and that's who God is. So now that we have the opportunity, let's resume where we were in Luminaries. We're about to complete the second chapter of Yoel. It's a magnificent oratory. I had never, we've always known that the second chapter of Yoel, we've reviewed it in times past, that it was a very clear depiction of the end times and there's just one battle and that God cares about, and that's the attack on Israel. There's no Armageddon war. There's no Gog and Magog war. That all comes from either Revelation or from Ezekiel, which are not true. But there is a massive invasion of Israel that is played along the same lines as Alaska Flood. This will be Alaska Flood 2.0. And God will be offering an olive branch. And one of the things that is so powerful about Yoel is that I think he does even a better job than Isaiah does relative to engaging in teaching. And of course, it's Yahweh speaking through him. But there's more teaching in Yoel about how you can prosper even in the worst of times. than there is in Yeshaya. Yeshaya is so concerned with the entire swath of time. It's more difficult for him to get into times of teaching. He's going to say, this is who you need to listen to. That person is going to be taught and will teach, and you need to listen to him. But Yoel is far more into God's offering you an olive branch. Times are going to get really bad. You ought to take it. And so this is the olive branch after a long conflict, the rainbow after a tumultuous storm. These are the long rays of the sun following a foreboding night. It's the welcoming crackle of the campfire's light. And from the beginning, this prophecy has been focused on the reconciliation of Yahweh's relationship with Yisrael and its return. And he tells us how and when this will occur. When you think about the restoration and return of Yisrael, if you're really paying attention, something should come to your mind. And if you want to blurt it out, if you think you know what I'm about to say, please interject. If not, I'm going to share it with you. All right. Dode. Dode's relationship with Yahweh was as bad as Israel's is today.
Get that?
And yet we got that resolved, didn't we? And we're going to get Israel's relationship with Yahweh resolved too. Just as we got Dode's relationship resolved, we're going to get our Dode's relationship resolved. We're going to get Israel's relationship resolved. We've done it. We're going to do it. But that is the model for what we're up against. And don't think for a moment that Dode wasn't as belligerent towards Yahweh as are the rabbis today. It was bad. And they were not talking. That's why it was... Go ahead.
The 51st Mashal kind of speaks to that it was bad. I mean, he comes out with both barrels.
Yeah. It's the 51st Mashal is so important for us to be able to, 51st Psalm is so important for us to be able to process, as is the 31st Mashal, which was the attempt to remedy it. The remedy didn't work. It was a beautiful presentation, but they were too far apart. The remedy wasn't until the presentation of the 89th Mizmor by the very person who was going to salvage Dode's reputation and was going to do that three times actually in his life. And that was the hammer. It was tough medicine, and it was bold and blunt. It's the model for what we are about is the 89th Mizmor. It's the single most important thing we could do. But you're right, the 51st Mizmor proves that they were dimensions apart. And there was no remedy in sight. I have thought about this so many times in the role that took place. As Boaz and Ruth were Dode's great-grandparents, and as she had promised that she was going to deliver the kinsman redeemer to Boaz, and then to be with Yahweh, sitting beside him, and to look down at our beloved, his firstborn, who we have known for a very, very long time. It was like Noah and his wife, the same woman, as Boaz and Ruth had given birth to Shem, working on the ark. It's the same soul. And to look at that and see it fall apart as horribly as it did, I mean, I can just imagine saying, God, this is almost to the point where it's not fixable. How long are we going to let this deteriorate before you let us see if we can resolve it? And you better have a plan here. We're going to go and do what we do, and we're committed to it, and we'll put in the effort, and we understand, and we will present what needs to be presented. But God, at this point, it may take more than we can offer. So we better have a damn good plan, and we better start now, because he's no longer a kid. He's 60 years old. We've got 10 years left, and we got to make those years count. And we're in less than that time now, aren't we?
Yes.
So we're saying the same thing. God, you're when we come back as witnesses, you better have a really, really good plan. I mean, at that point, up to this point, you have chosen to empower us, but to rely on us. I think we've done a pretty darn good job. In fact, I think we've done a really good job. And I think we've been more successful than any group of people with Yahweh over 6,000 years. No one has been as effective as we have been in explaining Yahweh, what he's offering, what he wants in return, and writing about him and speaking about him, and of creating an increase in covenant family. No one has come close to what we've done. Now, Yahweh would never take credit for it. Sure, he's empowered it with the Spirit. He's empowered it, enabled it with his word. He is the power behind it. But it's not like him to take credit for it. And we've put in the effort. And the fact is, we worked very hard at this. But, I know that we're in a different situation when we return. Because when we return, we're coming out of Shamaim. We've already been, Eliah will have spent 2,888 years in Shamaim, and we're going to have spent several. And we're going to come back not as learners. We're coming back in a lot of power, as seven-dimensional beings that are able, again, to mold matter with our minds. And so it's a different playing field entirely. And Yahweh's not going to be hands-off at that point, just like he had signs and wonders in Egypt. And he says, I know they have a hard heart. I'm going to overcome them, and we're going to make this thing prevail. And so there's going to be a lifting up of the Ark of the Covenant, of the 10 statements that Yah wrote in stone. There'll be a scroll that he places above our heads that plays portions of this program, so that we don't have to talk incessantly, that they'll be able to hear us speak to them and tell them years ago what we said was going to happen, so that when it's now happening, they can say, they did talk about that. He's going to remove the Dome of the Rock and Alaska Mosque, put up the tent of the restoring witness on the Temple Mount. I'm going to place the Ark of the Covenant inside of it. Going to bring, Eliah back after 2,888 years. So that's a very different situation. At that point, you're operating as much as it is possible as Yahweh. That's like Dode coming back and his Elion. All things pertaining to the influence of God. So now is the time where we are independent enough that God is saying, I really want you to learn. I want you to teach. I want you to warn. I want you to come to understand. I want you to share. And that's what we're doing. And it's a pretty extraordinary task when you realize how belligerent Israel. There's a lot of Yehudim and Israelites who have come to be part of this covenant that have significant amount of Yehud DNA. But inside of Israel, They're as obnoxious as they were during the Exodus. So it's going to take a lot to break through there. Fortunately, we have the whole world to pull from. God's going to take that final remnant. It's going to come from around the world. Fortunately, the Shabbat harvest on June 11th is not about quantity, it's about quality. And we're going to deliver quality. There's no question about that. And that the teruah gleaning is should be relatively easy by comparison. I mean, with all that is taking place and with the options that are available to them and the things that they're witnessing and on the Temple Mount, that should be pretty straightforward.
Pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty impressive. I'm not worried about the return. I'm not worried about even the sacrifice of the Adam of Parah. This is going to happen. It's going to play out exactly the way God wants it to. And between now and then, I think that we have got so much momentum and such a quality group of covenant members that we're going to deliver on the promises that Yahweh has spoken of. So here's what he has to say. It says through Yoel, then it will literally come to pass at this very moment, without hesitation in the last days. This is the last 7 years now. Therefore, I'm going to pour out my spirit upon the entirety of the herald and those who hear the message. Bashar Kol. This would be rendered as flesh in English Bibles. But there's a problem with that. Yahweh has never offered his spirit to any more than 70 people at one time. And even then, he took one expression of his spirit and he split it 70 ways. 71 to be exact. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, it's beyond that. It's less than 20 people that he has offered his spirit to.
Yeah.
There's one person, because of the importance of what the world is up against and how little time we have left, and that we need to have a Shabbat harvest, a teruah gleaning, the sacrifice of the Adam of Parah, ridding the world of Israel's enemies, and a wedding and a homecoming on Kippurim, such that we return to the garden in the conditions and the way that Yahweh wants, that the Choder gets 8 spirits of Yahweh. But God's not putting his spirit on the aardvark and the platypus. He's just not doing that. And he's definitely not putting his spirit on the Christian or the Muslim or the Haredi or the Marxist. So this cannot read that God's going to pour out his spirit on all flesh. Earthworms are not going to be, oh, Yahweh. Not going to happen. The fish in the sea are, not going to be blowing bubbles to Yah. So it is not on all flesh. And flesh is the problem. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it decays. Yes. It's that it's so limiting. The thing that makes a difference is being able to have your nephesh soul and your nasama conscience be encapsulated in light and energy, and to remove it from the constraints of a physical body. So at this point, pouring out his spirit on flesh would be counterproductive. Yeah. Pouring out spirit on a soul would be if that soul was worthy of it. Yeah, by worthy of it, somebody'd have to have left religion, have left politics, have left conspiracy and anti-Semitism, and have accepted the 5 terms and conditions of the covenant, have capitalized on the benefit of all 7 of the Moed Mikre, come to know Yahweh and have engaged in a way that Yahweh said, I can trust you with that level of empowerment. And not only isn't that all, that isn't even 1 in a million people. And even the mortal remnant's not going to get Yahweh's spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They can earn it, but they're not going to get it. So one of the things that I have learned in translating, this is kind of the fun thing when you have men, in your home that are devoted to this. Perry and I were talking about the lexicon and what he's trying to establish on his computer, is that rendering what God is trying to say or is saying to us in a way that resonates with people is a discipline that has standard operating procedures. You have to be able to justify your conclusions. You have to make certain that you're consistent all the way through, that you have evidence and reason to go where you're going to go, and that you're scrubbing all of the words of the diacritical markings. You're looking at the oldest resources, and you're also examining the actionable root of each word. But then there's a bit of artistry to it. You need to know who Yahweh is, what he is like. You have to know that you cannot render the word flesh, because Yahweh's spirit has never been on more than 70 people at a time. And he has an aversion to the religious and the political and the conspiratorial and the anti-Semitic. And that's 99% of people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and you look at a word like bashar, which can mean animal, flesh, meat, you look at its verbal root, spelled exactly the same way. And with the verbal root, what you see is what? What does bashar mean as an actionable verb? Does it mean flesh?
Proclaim.
To proclaim, to speak, to be a herald, to convey news. And so God can take his spirit and have it completely envelop his herald. And that would be consistent with what he's going to do. And then his spirit can be passed along and envelop those who are supporting and working with his herald on behalf of his people. And so we have to make certain that we know how to render the word correctly. So we'll begin again and understand why I translated bashar based upon its actionable root. Then it will literally come to pass at this very moment, without hesitation during the last days. Therefore, I will pour out my spirit upon the entirety of the herald and all who hear the message. And your sons and your daughters, as well as your elderly, they will be inspired to speak as they were prophets. Whose sons? Whose daughters? Whose elderly?
The heralds.
Absolutely.
It's possessive. Yeah.
That's why he's called the Zeroah. That's why he's called the Nakri. That is why all the way through, God says that the one speaking for him, Yada, has offspring.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he is presented as Boaz and Ruth. That's why all the way through, he has a wife and they are productive. That's why he is called a parah, a productive bull. Yeah, he has offspring. You are the sons and the daughters, as well as the elderly, and going to be inspired to speak as prophets. And that's what has to happen. For us to be responsible for the earth and for this mortal remnant and to be responsive to God, we have to be able to speak for him. All of us. And the job would be impossible if it were not for the fact that God's going to empower this capability. So it doesn't mean that we get to relax and say, well, God's just going to speak through us. It'll do a data dump. He'll tell me what I need to say. That's not what it means, because you don't get to this. You don't get to that position unless you've done a lot of studying, unless you have worked very hard at learning what it means to be part of the covenant family. You have to learn who God is, what he wants, what he doesn't want, what he's trying to achieve, what he has said, what he is in favor of, what he is opposed to, what he's trying to do with this remnant, how we're supposed to work together as a family. You got to know all that stuff, because if you don't know that stuff, then you're not in a position where you can speak for him, because he knows that he can't trust you. He's not going to speak through somebody he can't trust.
You can't teach that which you don't know.
You can't teach that which you don't know. And God has never used any human as a microphone, as a megaphone, as a speaker. He does not do auto pen. And so
AI delivery.
Yeah, he does not do AI delivery. And so you're going to have to have come to know him to the extent that there will become a time where I think we'll have both free will and have surrendered free will. I'm going to tell you that surrendering free will freely, voluntarily, is a very comforting thing, because then you don't worry about anything. You've said, all right, you've given me all this responsibility. I'm giving it right back to you. I'm surrendering my will to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I think when we go off and explore planets, we do what we think is going to be fun. When we're here doing our job, my approach is going to be, I've surrendered my will to you, and I understand what you want. We're going to do what you want. You know, what you want is better anyway. Even if I were thinking about everything and taking the time to make an individual decision as to how we're going to teach and how we're going to proceed, the fact is, you're smarter at it, better at it, thought this through. We're going to end up doing it your way. Works out fine. And, by doing that, all of a sudden, you, first of all, Dad's happy that you're doing it his way. But beyond that, you're going to have success. And if something fails, and by the way, God's capable of failing, you are never going to have to say, God, I'm really sorry, I screwed that one up. Let's try again. Say, we did it your way. It didn't work. Let's try it something else. You got another idea, or do you want me to choice? Yeah, let's try something else. And by the way, it could have been the right play. It just didn't resonate with the audience we're trying to deliver it to. And so it could be, okay, we gave that a shot. Didn't work. What do you want to do now? Can you imagine how much fun that would be to have a conversation like that with God? This group of people over here, we tried what you wanted done, and it didn't work, and that's okay. I think it was a good plan. I was all in on it, but let's talk about another option. Do you want to propose one, or do you want us to propose one? And I can just hear God say, well, mine didn't work. Well, what do you have in mind?
What do you got? What do you got? Yeah.
What do you got, man?
Toss them out.
Come on, call Yada. What do you think?
What do you think? I think it's just fine. I mean, I really do think that is really a cool thing to be in that position.
Well, that's relationship, isn't it?
We're going to speak as inspired prophets.
Yeah, well, you won't, Pop.
I think we're are already nudging right up to that. There are times I know in my life where I have had that responsibility, and you don't get in a position where you have foretold what's going to happen many hundreds of times over the last 25 years and been right 100% of the time. And when you realize that what I have said over that time is so contrary to what everybody else was saying. Everybody was saying A, and I was saying Z. And A failed, and Z was right. And I've been doing that now for 25 years. So there's a little prophetic impetus,
Yes.
and all of that. And you don't brag about it. What you just say is that God's doing that because he wants you to listen. They will mature. Now, they will mature. They will grow more capable once restored and be capable of receiving revelations. What does that mean to you? I know what it means to me.
You're gonna make mistakes. Yeah. It's a process. Kalom.
That means that I'm 20 years ago, I didn't know even 1/100th of 1% of what I know now. And yet we were miles and miles ahead, light years ahead of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
There are more insights in the Yada Yawa series than anything that humans have ever written. And yet, books that I wrote 20 years ago, I could convey 1,000 times more insights rewriting them today. And that's what this says to me, is that we are going to enter this process as what's the term in Star Wars? Was Padawan, right? If you were if you weren't fully a
Jedi, you're a Padawan.
A Jedi, yeah, you're not a Jedi. You're a Padawan. You're a trainee. We're all going to be kind of trainees there for a while. We have a really good trainer, and we're going to grow into master prophets. I think that's what it's saying here, is that God's going to create an environment where we have the opportunity to continue to mature and grow, which is what we're doing now. It's going to be a continuation of the process. And I think that even when the 1,000 years is over, we will continue to mature and grow.
It's always exponential, isn't it? We just keep growing and growing.
Yes.
Right?
That works for me. Capable of receiving revelations. It's shalom. Grow stronger, healthier, more mature, going from children to adults through divine disclosures. We're going to grow up with, becoming more capable with every passing moment. This was written in the call, literally going to happen, imperfect, ongoing, never ending. Third person plural. There'll be many of us. Paragogic, none. Emphatic. The chosen who made the right decision among the best of your young men. Mature. Mature is one of the many. Bakor is one of them. There's many variations of this noun and verb and adjective that all convey the same thing. It means to choose. Those who made the right decision and those who were chosen. God has free will too. It's his universe. He gets to choose who he wants to spend it with. And by the way, he's an introvert. He is not an extrovert. Not going to be a lot. So the chosen. Abraham didn't choose Yahweh. God chose him. Same thing with Sarah. Same thing with Jonah.
That was my first conversation whenever start talking to people, especially new covenant members, someone I haven't, don't have a rapport with, as I ask them, so where'd you get your invitation? Where'd you get your ticket? Because that is exactly what happens. Yahweh hands out invitations. He
does. And how we respond to it is up to us. But if he sees in you characteristics that he likes, and loyalty, steadfastness, devotion, a desire to learn and grow, a willingness to listen, a love for learning. There's a lot of things that God views, that he likes. He likes in men chokmah, firm, resolve, gabor, being bold, courageous, and confident. And I think he also likes this in women.
Yeah. Deborah had chokmah.
Yeah, that's what he loves chokmah, which would be intelligence, ability to process information intelligently. Not everybody doesn't have to be a super wizard, but you got to have the want to when it comes to learning and thinking. And he likes people that seek to make connections between things. So God's going to reach out to people that he thinks are interesting. And I think, as we now are refining what it means to be covenant, and we have the opportunity to do something that I had the opportunity to do yesterday. John, who is the Y2Z group leader, or one of the group leaders, is with 3 or 4 other Gen Z young men. He has been reading these books for 10, 12 years. He has been growing. He's listened to virtually every episode of Shattering Myths. He says, I can't even tell you the many thousands of hours I have of listening to your programs. And he says, I was an atheist. Someone told me I should read Or Light. And I went and read Or Light, and I wasn't an atheist anymore. Just the sheer logic and reason of the whole thing was so overwhelming. I said, oh, well, there's God. Now I know him. And this young man who'd been doing this for all this time, I had never met.
Yeah.
Didn't know his name. Never heard from him. The beauty of what we've created in terms of this website now, where we have the community and we can communicate with one another. And when I put out the call, it says, time, boys and girls, family members, it's time. Step up. Find your niche. Make your contribution. And he did. And to have the opportunity to share that couple of hours with him. And you see, he is really bright. He's articulate. He is an excellent student, knows his material, cares deeply about what we're trying to achieve, committed to it, loves Yah. God chooses well. Pretty cool to see that kind of thing, isn't it?
It is. It is. And more on the way. So. Oh
yeah, and you have a chance to meet somebody that is, of the kind of the manly man of Roger Paxton. We've recently got to know Doe is a woman. I always thought was a man the way that she wrote. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a woman's style the way she wrote. But she is a woman, and I have now experienced her first edit pass of a book, and she's the real deal, man. She knows her stuff. And what a thrill it is to actually get to know the personality behind somebody that's that articulate. So we're really in an extraordinary position. I take Shannon. I didn't know Shannon. And here Shannon's going off and meeting every covenant member and shaking hands and being there and breaking bread with them and traveling the country. I didn't know Shannon. He'd been reading the books, though, and listening to the shows for 15 years. And, invite him here, and what a remarkable man he is. And you find out he's the man that has suffered the greatest loss a person could possibly endure. Yeah. And yet he's overcome it. And what that means is that that's somebody, I don't care what the mission is. You give that man a mission and say, we need this done. He's the guy that you would give him that mission, and you would know that you will not have to even follow up to see how he's accomplished it. It's going to happen. You find somebody like Noah, who you got to know, Kirk, but all I got was a couple of emails from him, and he was doing something with a winery, but I didn't know the man behind it. Now I do. And, he's extraordinary, his life story. Yeah. I see, Will participates in a number of these stories. You see Will O'Brien show up, and there's a peace that comes over you. And I say, because I never know who's going to be on that show until, Kevin has them there. And I sit down a couple of minutes before the show begins and how do you do? But you see that face, and it's just calming. It's reassuring. There's something about his personality that he exudes a quiet confidence. And you just know that there is nothing you're ever going to worry about coming from that man that isn't solid. And so it's, we even had early in the morning, Captain Kirk, after 20 some odd years. And here we are doing our first just, one-on-one interview together. What great fun.
It was.
Yeah. I have been brothers and friends for, a score of years. I mean, that's twice as long, or 3 times as long as the average marriage. And, I think we have been friends longer than I wish I hadn't been married the first time, but, that's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
JB, you're going to have to join us on one of those early mornings. We've done so many shows together where you and I have participated on radio and now doing this, but it's really a fun situation to be kind of in the hot seat there, where you're talking both news and Torah, and you're just laying it all out in extemporaneous fashion.
I think I got a Monday off coming up in June, so you might reach out.
Perfect. And the person you want to coordinate with is the man in the hat up there, Shabbat dance.
I'm holding him to it. Yep, I'm holding him to it. So yeah. I will run him down.
It's really fun for everybody to get to know the personalities. Or, I feel like, particularly Leah feels like, but I also feel like we're mom and dad for Matt with Cats. That's our role. We're mom and dad, and he's a good kid that did bad, and he's the good kid that figured out a way to resolve that and turn his life around and make a real contribution. And he is the ultimate exemplar of what happens when you get out of your own head and you start caring more about other people. You end up benefiting yourself enormously when you do that. And he is genuinely supportive of everybody. And it's transformed his life. And so it's just, marvelous what we've been able to have in terms of quality members of this covenant family. And it's, there's upwards of a couple of hundred people that are devoted to it, really committed. So it is a lot of people who were chosen, who have now made the right decision. And as the best of your young men, and I've had to apologize to the Gen Zers, there's some really quality Gen Zers out there. By choosing to be consistently observant, they will see these revelations communicated by God, along with the old men. So this is Yahweh's song. It's, of course, it's music to our ears. This is a time when the children of Yisrael will have the opportunity to grow up and become mature and productive covenant members. That's why that 1,000 years exists. It's a time marked by an outpouring of Yahweh's Ruach. Many will be inspired. Conversations will be lively. Insights will be prolific. It's the best time of all to be alive. And for the most part, if Yahweh allocates his spirit to you, other than the 70 that it was briefly shared with who did nothing, I mean, there's not a single thing from any of them that indicates they were made any contribution at all. But if God, is going to really immerse you in your spirit, it's an extraordinary thing in terms of the enablement, the confidence, the courage, and the ability to deduce insights when you're working at the material.
Oh, it's got to be an absolutely wonderful experience. But then the other side of that, of course, is the responsibility that comes along with it. I mean, you have to be ready to put on your boots and get to work, because you've proven yourself to even get to that point, but you have to know you're going to show up every day,
Yeah, I think we'll have a different energy level during that time. But, even right now, it's 12 to 14 hours a day, and it is 7 days a week. And you're never wondering what you're going to do, because every day is marvelously different in what you're learning and getting to share, and the people you encounter, particularly now that we have the website and the vlog to speak. But every day what you're going to be doing, where you're going to go, and how you're going to get it done. And then you know that every day there's going to be an insight that you hadn't considered the previous day, and you're going to grow and share. And it's the best time of all to be alive. These next 7 years are going to be both harsh and rewarding. And the 1,000 years after it are going to be marvelous. And the eternity after that will be even more spectacular. So there are several related ways that we can look at the outpouring of the Spirit at the beginning of Sukkah. Yahweh could be saying that he will be increasing the spiritual capability of his Bashar Herald at this time, so that he can augment the library of books and the blogs at Yada and at yadaya.com, and that there will be essential teaching and guiding of the immortal remnant. Perry, you had a comment?
No.
Oh, okay. We're getting Rich's attention over here. The second option is happens to be my favorite, because the Bashar's covenant children, both men and women, will be particularly extraordinary during this time. Most of them are mature, even defying their age, and they will be receiving an outpouring of the Spirit, which means that they can serve the remnant more effectively. But you know what it mostly means is that the supervision responsibility becomes non-existent. That at that point, you can act as an advisor, you can act as an exemplar, you can continue to learn, teach, and write and share as part of these programs, and augment books for people to read, and host gatherings where we all come together and grow and share and enjoy the moment. But that when every individual among us is responsible for getting something accomplished, they will be empowered and enabled by the Spirit. That means that God's going to be able to leverage this family, and it takes away some of the hierarchical nature, so that you don't have Dode's responsible and they kind of pass down the line. No, this means that we're going to be operating as a family. Yeah, Dode is not particularly good at some of these skill sets. He has the job because he's Yahweh's firstborn. He's Yahweh's beloved, and as firstborn, he gets the inheritance. As firstborn, it's his kingdom, and he has grown and matured tremendously and has earned that right. But I can tell you, the burden of the responsibility is something he'd prefer not to have. He would like to enjoy it without having the daily grind of all of that.
Dude, matzah, just tell me what you need. We'll take care of everything else.
Yes.
You did matzah.
Yes.
Just tell me
You
what you
did it.
need. We'll take care of everything
We'll
else,
take,
right?
we got your back. Yes. Yeah, we're here because of what you did. Thank you for doing it. We got your back. You know, you got a new bride. She's really pretty. You know, enjoy, and we want to see you out among the people and being a marvelous example and dancing and singing and writing songs and celebrating the relationship. But you know, being king's good.
It's good to be king.
But it's even better when you got a loyal group of people that are supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we're going to have. Now, so I think that the Bashar's children will receive an outpouring of the Spirit so that they can serve the remnant more effectively. And the beneficiaries of the Bashar's pronouncements will be serving as exemplars of what it means to be receptive, to be responsible, to be reliable, to do what God has been seeking from us all along. And in this way, the Spirit is leveraged, and this way we have synergism. One becomes many. Former students are now teachers. And because they are the chosen ones who previously made the right decision regarding Yahweh, by having chosen to be observant, they will gain a vastly better perspective and understanding of what they have seen and what they should be doing. Now, the third option is the one preferred by most translators because they wrongly perceive the flesh as having merit, not realizing that it is what we must eliminate to grow with God. So while the nephesh consciousness and the nephesh conscience of the Bashar herald are guided and enabled by the seven spirits of Yahweh, there is no interaction between the spirit and his flesh. None. Even our nephesh souls exist dimensionally beyond our bodies. Our souls are of a dimension greater than the three that we perceive. I think they're greater than four. And that's why we can't quantify them, can't measure them. We don't know what they are. It's very much like dark matter and dark energy, which we know exist, but we can't measure them and we can't define them because they exist in dimensions beyond our own. So regardless of which of these you prefer, we know that the world collapses all around Israel, and in the end, we will witness a revival in the Promised Land. To be a celebrant, augmenting the chorus, open and declutter your mind. Focus on the Torah and the prophets as they are presented and explained throughout Yada Yah. It's a great place to start. Listen to God and then respond. Let's sing our fathers, his sons, and the Amos songs. In the 6,000 years that Yahweh has been with us, the year 6,000 is going to be the most extraordinary. It's going to be unique in many ways. There are going to be signs in the skies with solar eclipses on the 1st of Abib and March 31st of 2033 to marking the first day of the 120th Yobel in year 6,000, yeah. Full solar eclipse as we mark that time. 2 weeks later, as we celebrate Passover on the evening of the 13th of and unyeasted bread on the 14th of April, there's going to be a lunar eclipse visible in Israel. Then on the first day of the 7th month leading into Yom Teruah, there'll be a second solar eclipse on Friday, September 23rd. The fourth eclipse will be a lunar eclipse occurring 15 days later on the Shabbat of October 7th to acknowledge, bless you, the celebration of Sukkah. We enter the garden under the beauty of a lunar eclipse. I've seen many lunar eclipses, and I've actually flown to the very heart of a solar eclipse and witnessed that. I can tell you that the lunar eclipses are much more magnificent. You can actually look at them and enjoy them and the coloration of the whole thing, and then realize that's our Earth's, our planet's shadow that is blocking the sun's light, and the relative sizes of our sun, the Earth, and the moon, and the distances. I just think they're extraordinary. I will tell you that it's really eerie, the solar eclipse, and of course you can't look at it. You can just experience what it delivers, but it's twilight, middle of the day, and that's a bit eerie. To see, it get twilight and then they dawn in the middle of the day over the course of minutes. But it's the lunar eclipses that are really just magnificent. So this is the year that Yahweh resolves his religious problem, and he does so by eliminating them. And it is when the earth is restored, becoming like Eden again, the entire earth. And so even now, especially now that we are returning to the garden, we find a reminder that Yahweh values work. He finds it character building, soul affirming, deeply satisfying, and enormously productive and beneficial. And it is the way that God can determine our value of whether or not we can be trusted. When I issued the call about a month ago for everyone to get involved and make a contribution, the reason was that I knew what it would do for each individual soul, and I knew that it would cause God to come to have an appreciation of each individual soul, and that the overall benefit to every individual and to those who are being exposed to us was going to be enormous. This is the best of what we can do. This is who we are. So we should not be surprised that that work is a priority with God, he said. And also, upon the men who work, Ebed, and upon the women who serve in those days, I will bestow my spirit. So God's going to empower those and enable those who show a propensity to engage, to get it done, to work, to roll up our sleeves and to say, making a contribution, making things better, this is really great. And it is the ultimate attitude enhancer. When you're doing something that has value to other people, there's never been a depressed person who is making a contribution to other people's lives. Now, since Yahweh has never been indiscriminate with his spirit, and he's never inconsistent, the recipients are the most devoted contributors to what he once accomplished. While their prior contributions will have earned this distinction, with the Ruach, they're going to be hugely more effective. So there's also the possibility that by using Ebed and Shifcha, that God is telling us that families will be formed and children are going to be born on earth during the 1,000-year long celebration of Sukkah. I think that it is appropriate for the remnant to be able to bear and raise children and to model what God wants done. That's the ultimate way for them to grow and for others to have this opportunity. But I think, to be fair, if God's chosen are his covenant family, we ought to be able to do the same. And conceiving children is fun last time I checked.
Yeah. Raising them, on the other hand, can be a little iffy sometimes.
That was a little understated there.
Yeah, yes, it's easier to conceive them than it is to raise them.
Yeah,
but
start somewhere.
But you got to start somewhere. Practice makes perfect, you know.
True.
Yeah, it's a good point. The fact is that if we're being entrusted, JB, with the remnant of Israel, we ought to be entrusted to raise our own kids, right?
And it's going to be a lot better role to raise them in, a lot less bad influences.
Oh, of course, there'll be literally no bad influence, and there'll be so many opportunities, and the earth's going to be glorious. It's going to, and there's so much to do. I just think it's going to be a marvelous opportunity for everybody. And then you get the opportunity of working with your wife to get her done, so collaborating. And then, imagine, covenant members all getting together with their kids and us all working and exemplifying what it is like to be part of a family. We talk about what needs to be done and what should be done, and we're raising our kids to make a contribution. I just think it's just a tremendous celebration of family, of entering appropriate roles with men and women, all contributing and receiving an outpouring of Yahweh's Spirit as part of this adventure. Now, recognizing that the foregoing is Yahweh's respite for his people, as they are now basking in his light, the prophet wanted us to know that the signs which will herald this occasion are going to be well known. It says, I will provide bright and beautiful signs, handsome and conspicuous metaphors, marvelous and awe-inspiring symbols, an outpouring to the appropriately communicated and upcoming events, from Ma to complete the meaning of, and Yisaf, that which beautifies in the heavens. See, God's not going to be restricted as he is now. Mm-hmm. God's restricted by, you told me to shut up and go away and never wanted to see me or hear from me again. And I have no interest in exposing myself to a planet that's overtly religious and political and conspiratorial and militant. Now, when Earth is restored to the conditions of Eden and all the bad elements are gone, and we're doing our best to exemplify what he wants with this remnant, then God can do what he wants to do, which is that he can say, let's make rainbows. Let's do beautiful music together. Let's share glorious signs. I want to show those who are covenant will have already seen these kinds of things, but let's show a little indication of what lies beyond the earth to this covenant family, so they have something to yearn for. And we're going to want to share it.
Does he like artists? I mean, can I teach painting?
I think so.
I'd sign up for that class.
Guys, great.
Yeah, I'd sign up for that class. Yeah. I would love to be able to sing. Leigh would love to be able to dance. Now, she already can dance, and I can't sing, so there is a difference there. But, there's so many things. I mean, I happen to love architecture and building. Why not be able to do those kinds of things? I love the ocean, and I love diving and sailing and all these kinds of things. I love long walks on the beach. Why shouldn't we be able to enjoy all of that? Bright and beautiful signs in the heavens and on the earth. And then he gets personal. Blood, which is dam, which is the heart of Adam. The only addition to dam in Adam is the bull, the bull's blood. And fire. Why? Because fire is transformative. And the ultimate fire that God's going to light is the fire beneath the sacrifice of the Adamah Parah. And I'm going to here to tell you that's going to be an eternal flame. That fire is never going out. It will be a memory forever of what took place on that day. It's going to beautify the Temple Mount. I mean, there's something marvelous about an outdoor fire that when it glistens off the side of a reflective building and it warms the air and the crackle of it and the flames, the way they dance, it's going to be an eternal fire, along with columns of smoke. And that smoke is a sign that it rises up to the heavens. It's a sign that there was ash laden in it, and that ash was the purging element from the Adamah Parah. He's going to be celebrating what we did. That the great day of Yahweh is Teruah. And the stuff that takes place on Teruah is going to be part of our mindset and our a common theme that draws us together forever. We're going to all be able to say as a covenant family, we arranged that, we supported that, we were the team that worked with the remnant to have them benefit from it. That fire is our fire. The blood that was shed there is our blood. Of course, there are a number of ways to interpret the symbolism associated with these images, even to integrate them into a single scene. The dam blood being emerging is from Adam. And we have the sign of the bloody red man of the earth as the Adamah Parah. Adamah, which is the descriptive aspect of Parah, which is the productive bull, is a bull's head, blood, and a man. That's what Adamah means. It's a marvelous term. Parah, of course, the pay is that he's got a big mouth, but he's also got a big head. P-A-R. P-R. So it's a man standing up, reaching up, pointing to God, the Hey. The Rosh, observant, thoughtful. And the Pei. So this man of the earth, who is the bloody red man of the earth, he's a talker. And he is sacrificed on Teruah on behalf of the mortal remnant. And should this be the appropriate beginning, the conclusion is also fitting, because his bludgeoned body will be consumed by fire, with columns of smoke rising to the heavens. And based upon what follows, it's apparent that Yahweh is drawing our attention to the miraculous purging provided by the handsome and conspicuous metaphor of a bull. It's a metaphor that he chose. And, a bull is very protective, strong, bold. When we think of positive, when we think of something that is bullish, if it's bullish, it's good, it's positive. So a second option, of course, is directly related to the previous one, where we see the blood representing the fleeting life of mortal man, and the fire is transformative, elevating his soul to the status of light and energy. This is the underlying symbolism of the Adamah Parah, where Yahweh ignites the flames himself, which convert the bloodied body into radiant energy, into ash. He's also offering the mechanism to take the remaining mortals beyond this world and into the next. And from this perspective, the smoke becomes symbolic of the soul soaring heavenward. Now, third, there is the implication in the prophecies of Yoel and of Yeshayah that before God's return, the light of the moon will reflect a bloody red hue. This could be the result of terrestrial fires, of course, and light seen through the smoke they generate would appear reddish. And that's not going to be the case, of course, on Teruah, because it's a new moon. So the moon, when it's bloody red on Teruah, is because the moon is the sacrifice. However, it too could be a reference to the Katan Me, or sacrificial death, which is what I think it is the man from Edom in his vibrant red apparel as his physical body is hacked to death and mangled by Rahab as Trump on the Moed of Teruah. And I don't understand that Trump will be in a wheelchair. He's all corrupt and shriveled up, and he's a pretty, it's like in Star Wars, you get the Emperor becomes more and more, hands and face and body contorted. That's what's going to happen to Trump. And yet, the way the character lashes out in Star Wars and is empowered because of the dark side, well, that will also be true. So because Trump is Satan, and at that point, he's not going to be hiding the fact. This is what you're going to witness. So he will be a very brutal, vicious, lethal force coming out of a very crippled and toxic man. So this is all going to take place on the Moed of Teruah. The blood would be particularly relevant because it is the dam of this bull that is sprinkled upon the mercy seat, is it not, of the ark of the, I'm going to have to scrub. Boy, that's going to be a tough one. But it's always been the case where you're scrubbing your mental repository and your vocabulary of words that you shouldn't be using, and ark is a word we shouldn't be using.
Aronia.
Deba is a vessel of insights, and it's the ship of the harvest. And with the Aaron Bereth, it literally means behold the harvest. So it's an Aaron. At least we can use it's God's symbol. The least we can do is use his terms. It's going to take an old guy that's done it a while to scrub his vocabulary of it.
Yeah, I don't even like temple, yet it just rolls off the tongue and you say it. It is Bereth Shem Yahweh. That is what it is. And
yes. Well, he does use the home of Yah's name, the home of Yahweh's name, a lot, but he also calls it a Hiskel, and that would be, if you were to translate it, it would be a royal residence, a palace, or therefore a temple. I like royal residence a lot.
Yeah.
To translate it, because it is the royal residence of the of Dod the king and the covenant family, which are the children of God. That's pretty royal. But you can use the Hebrew term too, Haskell. It's just that sometimes it takes a little bit of people to process the information, what it all means. But Yahweh's favorite term for it is home for Yahweh's name. And because we're all going to bear Yahweh's name, it's our home too, home for the covenant family. Hello, Dr. Jeff. Did you save somebody while we were, having this show?
Just a seizure and somebody having withdrawal from alcohol intoxication who came by helicopter.
Wow.
Intoxication by alcohol, and you still get a helicopter ride. There's something wrong with our medical delivery system. I happen to believe that, and if I'm going to be doing some administrating going forward, I guess it's fair people know my mindset thing. I think that that everybody, no matter of their state, should be able to receive healing treatment for accidents and for injuries and for things that they didn't contribute to. But if you're jumping off a cliff, or you're decide you want to go to battle, and you want to play axe warrior with 2 other men, and you get hacked with an axe, I don't have any compassion for you.
No.
If you're 400 pounds and you get diabetes, and your leg gets gangrene, I am just really don't want to deal with that. If you choose to smoke and you get lung cancer, you brought it on yourself.
Absolutely.
If there's viruses still around, and you or bacteria, and you get sick, then it's our responsibility to try to help you. If you fall and you were trying to do something productive and you break a leg, then it's our job to heal you. And I think that we have to provide care that is appropriate, but not ridiculous. And I think what we're doing right now is ridiculous. I think that if somebody is abusing alcohol to the point that they're risking death, there's tough love is the right answer, and the wrong answer is the helicopter.
I concur with you. The system is very broken, and that's why I speak of you and everybody in the Covenant family as being true Raphe, true healers.
Yes, true
because
healers.
Knowing Yah and knowing his enduring testimony, and having the opportunity, if you use your brain correctly, that is eternal life. That is true life. That is what matters most.
Yeah, the soul can endure, right? The soul can endure. The body will not. Yeah, the body will not. The soul will endure, and bodies will be a dime a dozen. You can have whatever body you want, whenever you want it, wherever you want it. And so bodies are something. E equals MC squared. You can take a little bit of your energy and create a body, and there you go. But if you're going to abuse it, it's not our job to fix it.
No.
If bad things happen, not your fault, and then it is our job to heal it, particularly if you're still immortal.
Yeah. I'm going to have to obviously re-listen to this show again. I'm happy I'm going to be off next week and possibly the week after. But I have to tell you that what Yoel said, and then it was confirmed by Yirmiyah, about listening to you, knowing you, understanding you, and learning from you, and not being led by any false teachers, but by the Moreh, the true Torah teacher, is essential for life. And it doesn't get clearer than what was specified. It is unequivocal. It is spelled out black and white, period. It's game,
and
set, and match.
We can model through Moreh this outpouring of Torah. We can model what is conducive for all of us. That is the beauty of when God chooses to work through somebody. They should be an exemplar that encourages others to do the same, as JB began to translate, as he built a mirror site. We are being encouraged to model certain behaviors and certain styles and approaches. That's part of the whole process. And when delivered by a person that we know has flaws and has strengths and weaknesses, then we can walk right in their footsteps. And so it's not as a above to below. It is a let's walk together. Let's journey together. Let's all benefit from this. Let's all contribute. And I do think that we are in a period where it has been so dark for so long that Yahweh did choose a person to reflect the light that had been concealed and to expose the things that he is opposed to. And we've done that. And so now we've opened up the doorway to understanding, and we have lots of people who have run through that door.
Yeah.
And are benefiting from it. And that's really that is the encouragement. That is the process. I think that's what we tried to do with Jode.
Yeah.
This is who you are. This is who you can be. This is what we need from you. And we want you to grow and step up, and you're now going to this next 10 years of your life, you're going to write these Psalms. You're going to be the prophet. You're going to leave this legacy. And then in your next life, you're going to earn our respect. And we can all do that. That is, I mean, none of the rest of us have to go into Sheol, but we can all earn respect.
You mentioned tough love before, and an exemplar. If Boaz and Ruth, and Ethan Hazraki and Leah can show via Yahweh tough love to his firstborn son Dode.
Yes. Yeah.
Then hey,
correct.
That's an example.
Right. And we were tough love to him. We did not coddle him. And I think that we set an expectation for him and an example for him. And, so it was an example that he could follow.
Yeah.
And now we have so reassured him and so supported him that now he can be the example we can follow.
And because of that, he basically has given all of us the opportunity to be with Yahweh and to enter Shamayim. He did it. He came through.
He did. He did what Israel needs to do now. Listen, change, return, engage, prove worthy. That he did exactly what Yahweh was expecting of Israel. And, it'll be one in 1,000, perhaps, of Israelites, 1 in 1,000,000 of the rest of the world. But that's going to be good enough. So that's where we are. It's been fun. I'm glad you were able to come back, Jeff, at the conclusion of our program. And I appreciate you sharing how depression turned to joy as you prepared for this show, Kirk. Now that you're off next week, Dr. Jeff, we know that you're going to be doing a vlog on the vlog with us. Check in with Kevin. He will assign your day. JB, we now know that you're scheduled for a day in June when you have your day off, and we'll get that done. And Kirk, it wasn't too tough, was it? I mean, I know it's early in the morning for you, and but
for me,
yeah, pretty early for you. It still starts at 8 o'clock your time, and we get going here at 5:30. So we're already we're already on our third cup of coffee by that time. In fact, we've already gone from coffee to juice probably and tea by that time. But it's actually fun, and it's an environment where you can talk as much or as little as you want. You can be as challenging as you want. You can talk about news or Torah and integrate the two together. And it's there's a certain confidence that exudes from a total extemporaneous program. So we have the comfort of knowing that we've posted things that we have to talk about. So we know we're not going to run out of things to talk about, and everybody can be prepared for what those things are because I post them hours before the show, and most of them, some of them I post the previous night, so you have a chance to read them, and that's comforting. So kind of what we're going to be going over, but the response is always extemporaneous, and that's why we do live streams here. We have nothing here is ever programmed. It's all on the fly. We sit down moments before the show begins. We turn on the lights and the cameras and the microphones, and we just go, because there's something that is reassuring. There's a confidence that comes out of a ability to do what most people would just freeze. And they don't have the depth of knowledge and understanding of who God is and what he's offering, because we're not just here talking for hours. We're representing God, where you want to be really careful that you don't say anything that is inappropriate about him, because he's already endured a lot of that. But think of the confidence that it takes to sit down and say, I'm going to speak to you about God, speaking for God, and what you need to do if you're going to be part of his family going forward, and to do that every day. All extemporaneous, all live. It takes a lot of knowing, a lot of confidence. It's the result. You see these books behind me. It's the result of will soon be 38 books that are available on the site, but written more than 40, and it's and done many thousands of hours of live radio. You do enough of it, and you know your subject, you know what God wants, and you can make a tremendous influence in people's lives. We see it all the time now with people just saying, "I'm ready to volunteer. I want to share. I want to do a program," and they're marvelous. It's what covenant members are now expressing. So it worked. God was right. We were worthy of his expectations. All right. So
I'll tell you, Craig, it was very impressive. I'll just add this at 2 a.m. to just watch the vlog from I think it was yesterday when you interviewed Generation.
Oh yes,
that was
John.
That was John. Yeah, that was exciting.
It was so reassuring for me. And what was so wonderful is that he brought up really all of the issues that needed to be talked about. He would, so he would tee it up and not even know, I think he was teeing it up, but just talking about the challenges and that his generation faces. And, we could go into, this is where we've been as humans on this planet over the last 30 years, and how we got to this place, and how few there are of us who are in a position to capitalize on what God's offering as a result of this, and what academia has done, what politics has done, what religion has done, what the internet and AI has done to make it difficult. And yet, here's a man that was involved in extreme left-wing activities, then extreme right-wing, and then realized they were the same wing, and then a broken wing, and was an atheist when we first met, and went from an atheist to loving God in one chapter of one book.
The Light.
Yeah, or Light. What a marvelous story. And now is reaching out to be a benefit to other Gen Zers.
Gen Zers, man. Wow.
Yeah. And, he named his show Y to Z. It's a yada to Gen Z and why we are here. It's just, the whole thing is so reassuring, so marvelous. God's got to be beside himself, enthusiastic that, it's finally coming together. And he knows that his people are finally going to embrace him. Won't be a lot of them, but it'll be enough. So great times, great opportunity. thank you for teeing up the song. Thank you guys for playing it. Well, I guess we could do a last rendition of the song as we have done on so many programs as our sign off this evening. Okay. Marvelous Shabbat Shalom to one and all.
Yes, you.
Good night.
Shabbat
Good
shalom.
night.
Shalom.
Assuredly joyful with me, and blessed by Yah. Who is it with Yah? His name Yah. Stepping along the straight path, which gives meaning to life with Yah. From Sion's night, we break free into light. No rush of chains, no chatter fight. I got Torah. Day and night, Yahweh's rhythm feels so right. Call her Asher at Zion's gate. Answer the call, please don't be late. No confusion, no misdirects. We go where the words lead. Leading back to delight. Clap your hands, dance in the light. Covenant joy through the darkest night. Answer Yahweh's call. Come home where you belong. An eternal sign. Leave religion's yoke, step onto the path. Buried families, 7-step dance. Haga, haga, roar the truth aloud. The white lions have come from Babel's shadow to the promised crowd. Roaring loud and proud. Shabu, a harvest in a harvest moon glow. Yahweh's home where the blessed ones go. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahweh's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the Mikre. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahweh's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.